Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Amasport Matrix Future 002. Alright, so let's look at some specs. The average weight for this paddle is advertised at 7.76 ounces. I weighed mine and it came in at 8.2 ounces. The paddle length is 15.7 inches from head to heel, I guess. The paddle width is 8.07 inches. The grip length is 4.92 inches. The grip circumference is 4.25 inches. It has foam injected edge walls, which they're calling like a flex foam, laminated foam technology. And it has a polymer 13mm core. It has 100% graphite hitting surface with standard spray-on grit, it feels like. And it has a CX forged handle, which is just their company's term for thermoformed paddle. Overall, I think it's a fine looking paddle. I did notice a few things, such as in here inside the paddle hole, I forget what they call this hole right here, there is some warping along the edges, or like some edge imperfections along the inside of this. It's obviously not going to affect the play at all, and it's really hardly noticeable, so no real complaints there. One other thing I noticed is that the model name on the side is spelled Martix instead of Matrix. They just transposed the R and the T. I talked to them and they said this issue is going to be fixed in the next batch that's coming out, so that's good. I would say overall, as for this exact paddle, not the fixed one, I would give it 3 stars out of 5 just because of that, and that's not ideal. No other paddle company is going to do that. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars for aesthetics for this paddle. I've always wondered how bad a paddle could be for control, just who would actually make a paddle that controls super badly. And I hit this paddle for about 5 minutes and I think I found out which paddle that was. It's this paddle. Word. This paddle is terrible for control. The twist weight on it is really low, so any balls that hit anywhere off this much of center, the ball loses probably 80% of the velocity off the bounce, which is definitely not good. The sweet spot isn't technically really bad because I would say it extends pretty well front to back, but it's not very forgiving on resets and it's very easy to pop the ball up. So for resets and stuff, this is not a good paddle, and that's why I'm giving it a 2 stars out of 5 for control. It's just not a good control paddle at all. However, the bad control of this paddle leads into this paddle's strongest suit, or not the strongest, but one of its strongest, and that is the spin. And I would say this paddle spins at the same level as a Power Air, I would say. It spins at the same level or more than a Power Air, I would say. Doing wristy top spin drops with this felt really nice, and so did super spinny drives. I could drive the ball at knee level of my opponents when they were standing at the kitchen line and I was in the mid-court. Just on a full-blown drive, not like a drop drive, but an actual drive. I was hitting the ball below their knee. So spin is definitely one of its strong suits. Roll volleys felt really nice with this, as did drops. Surprisingly, this paddle was easy to drop with just because of how much backspin you could put on the ball. As I kind of just touched on, drops with this paddle feel nice, but you really need to put topspin on them or else they just float up, because this paddle is so poppy, which leads into the pop of this paddle. I would say pop is this paddle's greatest advantage. It is ridiculously poppy. It's definitely the poppiest paddle I've ever played, poppier than a Power Air and a Double Black Diamond, which are I think the poppiest paddles I've ever played with so far. This is way poppier than both of them. It makes speed ups feel really easy, and you just really want to be aggressive with this paddle. You want to drive everything and you want to speed up everything. And counters as well. If someone speeds up the ball at you, then you can put it away really fast and hard with this paddle. The swing weight, I don't have a machine to test the swing weight, but I would say that this falls in the high teens, 100 teens. So maybe like 118, 119. It's not It's not a really low swing weight, even though it's thin, because it's heavy. It's like 8.2 ounces, and almost all the weight is centered in the head, which is why it feels so good for drives. But it's like a heavy power air, I would say. So yeah, if you're looking for a really poppy paddle that's like crazy poppy, then this paddle's for you. I haven't hit the Selkirk Labs 002, but this is what I would imagine the Selkirk Labs 002 feeling like. Just insanely poppy and hard to control. Now this paddle is really powerful as well. Drives with this were so fun to hit. Definitely its favorite shot. There's not really much else to say except it's powerful, it hits like a truck. It feels like a stiff board in a good way because all the feedback on the ball goes right into your hand. So it's a very crisp feeling when you hit drives with this paddle, which I personally really like compared to a softer paddle when hitting drives. It feels, I keep on comparing it to the Power Air, but because it's similar in many ways. This feels like a Power Air when driving, except this specific paddle is heavier and not nearly as much vibration hitting drives with this paddle compared to a Selkirk Power Air. I personally wouldn't add lead tape to this paddle, but for those of you out there that already play with heavy paddles or are used to playing with heavy paddles, I really think adding lead tape to just above the curved points on this paddle would greatly improve the performance of it overall and just help balance it out a little bit. Okay, so for the overall rating of this paddle, I give it a 3.7 stars out of 5. It's one of my least favorite paddles right now. I think if I played indoors with an indoor, like at a gym with an indoor ball that's way squishier and softer, this would be really nice and give me an advantage. But with an outdoor ball that is hard and heavy, the twist weight of this paddle is a real disadvantage playing outdoors. Also, the misspelled word on the side takes away points, obviously. Overall, I think it's a decent paddle. For, I think it is $100. If your budget is $100 and you're looking for something ridiculously poppy, this is what I would go for. If you're looking just for an all-court paddle, this is definitely not the one for you. You're gonna have a really hard time with this. If you're looking for an all-court paddle, the Vatic Pro Prism Flash is probably gonna be better for you, and that is, I think, $100. So, same price as this, but it's carbon fiber and it's softer. It probably spins better. So yeah, in my opinion, the great difficulty it takes to reset with this paddle just kills it for doubles. That's why this is a 3.75 out of 5 stars for me. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this review. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and if you would like to see more content like this, please subscribe. It helps me afford better videos, or just leave some positive feedback below. It helps me know how I can improve. Alright, stay tuned for more interesting paddle reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.